As we start this video, I bet you're thinking to yourself, wait, I thought this was supposed to be a video about Colorado. This sure looks suspiciously like a Florida video. Well, if you happen to be traveling through Colorado, specifically the southern border, right next to the Great Sand Dunes, you can find lots and lots of alligators. The farm is called Colorado Gators. The farm originated in 1977 as a fish farm. The source of water is a geothermal well that's over 2,000 feet deep, and the temperature runs 87 degrees Fahrenheit. The first gators came in 1987. They brought them in to dispose of the dead fish. Something that's almost as surprising as gators in Colorado is the fact that there's actually cats running around in this farm. Rest assured, this is the first of many surprises this farm will present to you. As you walk into the main entrance, you'll find, yes, the gift shop. I personally think this is a genius move. Walk you through the gift shop before and after you visit. Because if you're not a fan of alligators before you went there, you'll definitely be a fan after you leave. Seeing an alligator was definitely on my life's bucket list. So these prices are entirely reasonable considering that instead of driving all the way to Florida from Washington State, all I had to do was go to Colorado. And you'll notice the last item on the list is gator chow. Yes, they'll let you feed the alligators. I highly recommend you don't feed them out of your hand, though. As we entered, we were extremely happy to see that the place had been accident-free for 3 whole hours. Continue past the sign. Avoid the extremely large tortoise. Once he gets his momentum up, he doesn't turn for anything. You'll immediately come to a nice employee holding an alligator. If you're so inclined, you can hold the alligator. Did I mention they've been accident-free for 3 whole hours? After you get over the shock of actually holding an alligator, you start to realize, hey, this guy's kind of cute. I mean, look at that face. Oh yeah, did I mention I'm also a Godzilla fan? Any resemblance? An interesting fact about alligators. If you caress the top of their nose, they open their mouths. The nice employee then takes a certificate of bravery, puts it in the gator's mouth, and closes it. This will in turn cause a whole bunch of puncture marks inside your certificate. Here's my personal certificate that's now on my wall. And the puncture marks caused by these sharp little teeth. Okay, now we're all fans of cute little alligators. Let's walk a little ways down the trail and we come across this, an innocuous-looking head in the water. When the head actually leaves the water, it's the stuff that nightmares are made out of. Look at all those teeth. This'll make you want to look under your bed at night. This is the Nile Crocodile. Nile crocodiles are one of the largest predators on Earth, with some of the males reaching over 18 feet long and around 2,000 pounds. Females usually average around 12 to 14 feet. They eat wildebeest. Did I mention wildebeests? You know, that's something like the size of a cow. However, they're not picky. They will eat anything they can catch, including people. They're very fast and aggressive, which means they are not more afraid of you than you are of them. After you've gotten your certificate of bravery, you're going to walk between a series of individual pens. On your point of view, these are either private pens or solitary confinement. Along the tour, there's many informative signs. I'll read them to you as we go along. Alligators are not actually green, but are born black with yellow stripes. As they spend more time in the sun, the yellow slowly fades to black. The adult gators at Colorado Gators are almost all black with yellow bellies. Alligators that remain indoors for several years will maintain their yellow pattern. Here we have Morris, the movie star. They don't know his exact age, but they think he's at least 60 years old. He starred in dozens of films, including Alligators 1 and 2, Dr. Dolittle, Interview with the Vampire, and many more films. Here's a funny story. We were trying to feed him. One of the farm hands walked by and said, he won't eat that stuff. He's spoiled. He only goes for the good food. As it turns out, alligators aren't the only critters this farm saves. They have a whole pen full of emus. Emus are native to Australia and are the world's second tallest bird after the ostrich. I personally thought this massive tree was worthy of being in the video. It's truly spectacular.
Hi, well, look at you two. What are you for? How you doing? Why are you standing in the water?
As my young bride feeds the alligator, I want to point something out. They not only installed a tall chain-link fence, but they installed 2 layers of fencing. It's not really conducive to good photography, but it sure does help make a person feel safer around these large predators. Well, here's something you don't see every day, an albino alligator. There are around 200 albino alligators in the world. It's a genetic mutation, and in the wild, the alligators would not survive because they don't have camouflage. It looks like they really enjoy the water flowing out of that geothermal well. It's sitting at right around 87 degrees Fahrenheit. On the technical side of things, I really wonder what kind of pump they use to pull water out of a 2,000-foot deep well. After you've viewed all the special alligators in their private pens, you'll come across the lagoon. This is where some of the real action's going to start. When we came across this massive beast, remember when I told you how safe I felt behind the fence? Well, after seeing this guy, well, not so much anymore. He's absolutely huge. Now I'm starting to look at all the nails they used to hold the fence in with. Looking at these claws, I've come to the conclusion he's in that pen because he wants to be, not because he has to be. I think those ridges running down his back is some sort of armor plating. So, will you turn back to the lagoon? It's a hot day. You think to yourself, a quick little dip in the water would sure cool me down. Then you turn your head to the right and you see this. No, not happening. I'll just sit here and sweat. That is a lot of alligators. Well, who knew this? Apparently, alligators make good pillows. As we start throwing food in for these fuzzy little buddies, it crosses my mind. It costs us a fortune to feed our koi in our koi pond. I can't even begin to imagine what it costs to keep all these alligators alive. Hey, there's a greenhouse here. Let's go in and see what's in here. I think between tortoises and sharks, crocs, and caiman, I'm going to go with the sharks. I think those signs were in the wrong spot. These are turtles, not sharks. Unfortunately, I didn't take a picture of the display placard, but I think these are alligator fish. That's kind of neat. It's almost like they have an alligator theme thing going on here. We come across a little herd of baby alligators. Actually, a group of alligators is called a congregation. You want hours of fun entertainment? Start looking up the names of what they call groups of animals. Like a group of crows isn't called a flock, it's called a murder. So I'm guessing if you only had 2 crows, that would be attempted murder. This must be some sort of snapping turtle. At first I thought this sign said, "Put your hands in this tank." But when the light hit it at a different angle, it says, "Do not put your hands in this tank." I think I would change that sign so you can read the word "do not" at any light angle. The fish waste is pumped up to an aquaponics bed where it is used by the plants. The plants get nutrients from the water and filter it before the water is returned to the tanks. Man, if I was running a business, I'd want this fellow working for me. The entire time we were touring the farm, we saw him do nothing but work, work, work. Okay, we've moved from the baby alligators to the medium-sized alligators. Apparently, alligators and turtles get along. The mata mata turtles have leaf-shaped heads and shells for camouflage. They're native to the Amazon and Orinoco rivers, and thankfully they eat mostly fish. I know after I saw one actually eat, I'm never setting foot into a river where I know there's a mata mata turtle living. The caiman in these cages were people's pets. They were frequently sold in pet stores. Then they were brought here after they became too big, mean, and dangerous. Let's go back to the original question that wasn't asked. Why are pet stores selling caimans? If you're a turtle fan, you will not be disappointed. Let's head back outside to the main attraction. This looks like something straight out of a James Bond movie. Everyone remember that episode where he ran across the backs of alligators? The movie was called Live and Let Die. It took Roger Moore's stunt double 6 different takes to run across 3 alligators. Inquiring minds want to know what happened with the first 5 takes. Did we use up 5 other stunt doubles? These alligators are turning their heads so they can get to the food, which makes sense. What if they can actually see the food as they're grabbing it? Alligator nests are typically made with rotting vegetation like grasses and cattails, mixed with dirt and feces. The rotting contents creates the heat necessary to incubate the eggs. Once a year, the female will dig into the nest and deposit 25 to 60 eggs. Once the baby alligators hatch, they're about 8 inches long. Only about 1% of them survive to adulthood. They usually grow about 1 foot per year, but in warm captive situations, they may grow up to 3 feet in the first year. The last place I worked at made me put a safety harness on if I went more than 2 feet above the ground. I wonder what they'd say about this working environment. While digging a new fence post, he found an alligator tooth. He was very kind and gave it to us as a souvenir. What happens when you throw food between 2 huge alligators? Keep in mind, this is the same pen that gentleman was just working in. We finally make it to the backside of the farm. The sign says, "Send more hunters. The hikers are still too crunchy." Then you run across this sign. "It only hurts till you pass out." Then you look down and you find this humongous fellow just staring at you. Can you imagine hiking along this trail, looking down, and seeing this slowly come towards you? Despite his enormous size, he can sure move quickly. As we headed back to the entrance, the tortoise went screaming by us. So, what's the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? The alligator has a more rounded nose, like a duckbill, and an overbite, so you only see the upper teeth. The alligator is also more cold tolerant, and can even survive if the pond freezes over. The crocodile has a longer, pointier snout, and you can see the upper and the lower teeth when its mouth is closed. The crocodile can't take cold as well, but can live in salt water if necessary, where alligators are only found in fresh water. There are 2 types of crocodilians, the Caiman and the gharial. The 6 species of caimans are found in South America and are freshwater like alligators. The gharial is found in parts of India and has a very long, thin nose for quick movement under the water.